You may notice children having emotional release, and that can occur in different ways. Emotional release could be crying, or it could be yelling, something where there's a sudden outburst, an emotional outburst. Now, when you're doing breathing practices and working with the children, sometimes when they calm down, or they're doing coherent breathing, or they're just resting quietly, you'll notice they'll begin to cry, and a little bit tears will come, and they may cry softly. This is because they carry a great deal of sadness for what has happened, and some of that has to come out from time to time. It may come in the form of crying, because that's what anybody does naturally, and especially children. So it's important to allow them to cry a little. Sometimes people mistakenly think that the best thing to do is distract them or tell them to stop crying. But that's not what they necessarily need. They need some emotional release, and it's best if it comes out a little bit at a time. So if they're just crying, let them cry for a little while, and let them know that you're there for them, you're nearby, and if there's anything that they need from you, you're there for them. Now, it's different, however, if the child goes into crying in a very intense, uncontrollable way. That's also an emotional release, but it may mean that too much is coming out all at once. So in that situation, it's sometimes helpful to do things that help the child come back from that place and regain control. Sometimes you'll see the child really getting extremely upset, more than just what we would call normal crying. They may be thrashing about, they may be screaming, they may be, in a sense, reenacting some horrible experience that they've had, because sometimes the experience comes back so vividly, we call it a flashback, and it's as though they're back actually at the time in the midst of the trauma. And sometimes they get lost in the flashback, and they lose their sense of where they really are and the fact that they actually physically are safe. So there's some things we can do to help children in those situations. And one of the things is what we call grounding. It helps them to recenter themselves. And we're going to talk a little bit about some of those grounding techniques.